What is going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today when I talk to you about Lucid, give you a quick overview of some of the data points, break it down on what is really prompting today's pullback, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So Lucid's down 5.3%, $3.10 the low, 337 the high. So it is kind of just getting dragged down with the broader market. No actual news associated to Lucid, no SEC filings, nothing like that. Kind of low volume at the same time. So 58.8 million shares being traded, 90 is the average. And so even on a larger scope, there isn't really any data points to justify today's pullback aside from it being psychological. If you look at the Dow, the NASDAQ, and the S&P was the first one to really go down. So no different than what happened at that big milestone of 5,000, and then at 5,500 there was always like a psychological restraint saying, hey, are we justified to be here? And so of course it kind of caused a pullback, no different than where we are now at 6,000. So in my opinion, I think it's just a combination of that, as well as a lot of stocks that ran up considerably. And of course, with the last couple trading days in Q4, so we have, I think by Tuesday, a lot of institutions will be rebalancing. So of course, with Lucid, like I said, kind of outperforming a lot of its peers. You will see kind of entities selling Lucid, not necessarily buying it. So I think a lot of that is just attributing to what is happening right now. Shorts at the same time are increasing 1.15 million shares. 22.59% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 269.12 million shares overall are being shorted. Cost per average is 1.1%. Utilization is 76.67%. So I think short's been somewhat stagnant over the last little bit. So they're finally seeing an opportunity to pounce, and that's ultimately what is happening. It's not just with Lucid though. Shorts across the board are increasing. So maybe they're just piggybacking off of just the fear and whatever else. But the only thing that has really come out associated to Lucid was this. So they posted that they, I guess, did a update to their app. So they've always been very good for their customer experience. And so they always kind of put that as a priority. So again, having a good updated app is always a very positive thing. And this is, of course, for owners and whatever else. So is this a reason to go out and buy or sell Lucid? Not really, not that much, but it again adds to the allure of Lucid, if that kind of makes sense. But aside from that, 1.42 million in calls, 329,000 in puts. 50% of all the options being done today are bearish. So you are seeing a lot less options being done today. And I think that is just based on the optimism or lack of optimism for that today. So with the 50%, this is kind of the first time in almost a week you've seen the sentiment negative. So again, something to just be aware of. But of the call options that are being purchased today, you still do see a consensus for it to be above 350/4 for the foreseeable future. But like I said, it's just the frequency, so the number of options are a little bit lower. The bears though are anticipating for it to be sub $3. So they're kind of assuming that is going to be what happens for at least the foreseeable future. So more of a pullback associated to technicals. And with today being Friday, just take note of some of the strong kind of open interest strike prices. So there is 9,000 at that 250, 17,000 at that 3, and then 29,000 at that 350. So I think market makers and shorts have a financial interest in keeping it below 350. So maybe this is what prompted an additional pullback, or even at that $3 range. So just take note of that. Even going forward into next week, you have kind of some walls at 250, 350, and that's pretty much it for that. But these are all the transactions that are occurring on the secondary market above $100,000. So you are seeing a good amount of buying, but you have algorithmic trading as well as shorts really working against Lucid. And as I've shared with you on many occasions, algorithmic trading is kind of the most powerful buying trading thing out there. So obviously, whenever you have it against anything, it's going to go down. But aside from that though, with it at $3.14, it is recovering slightly. So it is above this R1. So watch for that to really hold. So $3.13 will be a strong support. Flip side, $3.28, and then $3.52 is going to be the next strong target / resistance point. So I think in general, like I said, today is just unjustified of a pullback. but it will obviously correspond with its own technicals for every other stock out there. So just watch for 313, because if it does close below that, then this is where you could see more of a further pullback a little bit going into next week. But no new analyst ratings. So last one was done, I think 14 days ago, 350 price target and everything else like that. And then as far as on the actual chart itself, so it is on that ALMA. So definitely on a side note, that also needs to stay above that. So that is 14.5, $3.14 or 0.5 if that kind of whatever else. But aside from that, though, there's not really much negatives to really say associated to the chart itself. It's gone up quite a lot, so there is going to be a certain level of profit taking and everything else like that. Stochastic RSI, as I've shared with you, is rather overbought. So the first sign of weakness, you're going to have a lot of volatility, so a little bit of a pullback. So that's kind of what is happening today, but honestly, I think it is going to continue to get bought up and just move on higher, because largely the data points behind the scenes are still solid. So the economy is doing relatively good, so there's no real reason to panic, again, aside from it just being more linked to psychological. So what is your viewpoint? Do you think that it's justified the pullback? It's kind of comical though at the same time that a lot of stocks run up like 15-20% and then it goes down 2%. People start panicking, saying that this is the start of Armageddon, that we're going to have a massive pullback and everything else like that. So do you think that we're due for a pullback? And if so, where do you think it will kind of land? Not necessarily just with Lucid, but as far as the indexes, where do you think that is going to put them? So don't forget to hit that thumbs up. One final thing I just wanted to share with you, pop over to my Patreon, link in the description below and also the comments, where I give buy signals on stocks, options, and crypto. Many of them have been absolute bangers, so pop over there and take a look. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.